What's up guys, today I'm teaching you everything you need to know about Elvennote, a new deck coming out in Burst Protocol in February. We're going to do a card by card breakdown, a combo tutorial, and a matchup guide, so let's get started. Elvennote is a synchro archetype. They have 3 level 6 main deck monsters, 1 level 1 tuner, and they play Medius. There are 2 archetypal synchro monsters in Wave 1, similar to Archmage and Doomsday Wave 1. We'll start off with the first monster, and this is a good time to talk about the shared summoning condition on all 3 of the level 6s. They can summon themselves without starting a chain from your hand by summoning themselves to the middle monster zone, and their quick effects require you to switch them with something that's in your middle monster zone, so we'll talk about the importance of that as we get into combo theory, but it's good to know that they have inherent summons. Our first one is going to be level 6 fire spellcaster Elvennote's Lucina. She summons herself to the middle monster zone. Once per turn you can search for an Elvennote's monster, and once per opponent's turn you can quick effect switch her with the monster in your middle position to return a monster they control that's level 6 or lower to the hand. If you made it this far, thanks so much for watching. Consider leaving a like and subscribe so you can help the channel grow and so you don't miss any of my guides. And next we have level 6 water spellcaster Elvennote's Diana. She also summons to the middle monster zone, but her once per turn effect places a continuous spell from the deck face up. And her quick effect on your opponent's turn switches her with your middle monster to take a card out of their hand and banish it until the end phase. And our last main deck level 6 is light spellcaster Elvennote's Fortuna. She also summons to the middle monster zone. She places a continuous trap from the deck face up with her once per turn effect, and her quick effect on your opponent's turn switches her to the middle monster zone to bounce a spell trap. And our next monster is our level 1 tuner, Elvenote's Power Patron, and this is kind of the glue that holds the deck together. While it's on the field, you can't summon monsters from the extra deck except synchro monsters, and when it's sent to the graveyard as synchro material, it searches for any Elvenote's card, and on your opponent's turn, it has a quick effect to increase something's level by 3 and then immediately synchro an Elvennote's or Junora Power Patron monster. And where there's a patron, there's Medius. If you don't know what he does, on normal or special, you can special summon a Power Patron monster from your deck, and when he's in the graveyard you can shuffle a monster from your hand or field into the deck to special summon him. He's a good starter in all the decks he's played in, and Elvennote is no exception. And with the monsters out of the way, let's get into the spells and traps. The most important spell is this continuous spell, Parallelism. Once per turn, it lets you send a monster from your hand or field to the graveyard to special summon an Elvennote monster from your deck whose attribute is different than the monster you sent. This effect synchro locks you, but it can be used as an extender or a starter, and it also provides continuous protection to the monster in your middle monster zone from being destroyed by card effects. The other continuous spell, Terse It, provides targeting protection to the monster in your middle monster zone, and a continuous beneficial effect based on the attribute of the monster in your middle monster zone. I don't think this card is actually that good. And just like there are 2 continuous spells, there are also 2 continuous traps. I think these are a little bit more equalized in terms of how good they are, but I do think Rhapsodia is better. This one lets you send a monster from your hand or field to the graveyard to summon an Elvennote's monster from your graveyard with a different attribute, and when it resolves, if you control a synchro monster, you get to negate the effects of a face-up card your opponent controls. So this card gives you combo routing and a little bit of interaction. The other continuous trap is Aristea, and this one lets you move a monster in your main monster zones once per turn, and lets you negate the effect of a spell trap that your opponent activates if you control 3 Elvennote's monsters when it's activated. It's a little bit more niche, but it's not bad enough to be unplayable, you know? And the last thing we have to cover is the extra deck monsters. We have the level 7 synchro Stelitzia, and most of the time you're going to be making this with one of your level 6s plus your Power Patron. Its original attack becomes 3k when it's in the middle monster zone, and it has a quick effect to reborn a level 6 or lower Elvennote monster and then optionally decrease the level of all level 4 or higher monsters on the field by 3. And it synchro locks you. And our last monster we need to talk about is the level 10 Fire Fiend synchro monster, Junora Power Patron of Tuning. This is a 1 tuner plus 2 non-tuner requirement, so the level modulation from Stelitzia is going to come in when you're making this. And additionally, it lets you use the monster in your middle monster zone as though it were a tuner. When you synchro summon it, you negate the effects of all face-up cards your opponent currently controls, and as a quick effect, you can no material everything in the same columns as your Elvennote's monsters, but it itself isn't an Elvennote's monster. Now that we know what the deck does, what kind of game plan are we trying to establish? Well, we're trying to get the quick effects of all of our level 6s online, and we're trying to use the quick effect of our Power Patron to synchro summon, ideally Junora on our opponent's turn, to lock them out of important effects and stop them from using their monsters as material. And theoretically, we can use Rhapsodia on our opponent's turn to negate a card they control as well. So let's talk about some of the ways to get there. I think the most user-friendly one-card combo in the deck is off of Lucina, but the routing off of her and Diana are pretty similar, so I'll just talk about the one card here. You're going to special summon Lucina to the middle monster zone, and you're going to activate her effect to search for Elvennote's Power Patron. You spend your normal summon on the Power Patron, and then you Synchro 7 into Stolitzia. This is going to trigger Power Patron, and you're going to use its effect to search for Diana. You're going to put the Stolitzia in the extra monster zone so that your main monster zones are free. And then you're going to summon Diana to the middle monster zone. You're going to activate Diana's effect to place a continuous spell from your deck face up. We're going to place Parallelism, and we'll activate its effect, sending the Diana to the graveyard to special summon Fortuna from the deck. We'll activate Fortuna to place a continuous trap face up from the deck. It's going to be Rhapsodia. And from here, we activate the effect of the Stolitzia in the extra monster zone to reborn either the Diana or the Lucina, and on resolution, we're going to use its effect to reduce the levels of all 3 monsters we control, itself, Lucina, and Fortuna in the middle monster zone, all by 3. So we have a level 3 Fortuna, a level 3 Lucina, and a level 4 Stolitzia. We also have the continuous spell and the continuous trap. During our opponent's main phase, we can activate the effect of Stolitzia to bring back the Power Patron, and later activate its quick effect to special summon Junora from the extra deck using the level 4 Stolitzia and the 2 level 3 Elvennote monsters we were left on. Before we spend them for a Synchro Summon, we can use their quick effects to bounce a spell trap, bounce a monster, or hand rip. You can also use the effect of the continuous trap to customize which interaction you end on before you commit to the level reduction from Stolitzia. Getting to this end board off of Diana is really similar. You special summon her and place the continuous spell. You use the continuous spell to get rid of Diana and summon Lucina. Lucina searches for the Power Patron, which you normal summon. You Synchro Summon into Stolitzia. You activate the Power Patron to search Fortuna. You special Fortuna. You use her effect to place Rhapsodia. And then you use Stolitzia to reborn one of your 6s and reduce their level. And again, on your opponent's turn, you can reborn the Patron. When the Patron uses its effect to Synchro Summon, you're going to use it to increase its own level because the materials for Junora are already correct, and the monster in your middle monster zone can be treated as a tuner. But that's if you start with one of the Elvennote monsters. What if you start with Medius? The Medius line is a little bit more complicated and has a little bit more flexibility in the end board that you create, but I'm just going to go for the Junora end board here, and I'll explain some of the options that you can try out, and let me know in the comments what you think is best. For normal summon Medius, we're going to get our Power Patron out of the deck, and then we're going to Synchro 5 using the level 4 Medius and the level 1 Patron to make Excel Synchron. We're going to put it in the leftmost main monster zone, and we're going to trigger the effect of the Power Patron to search for Diana. We're going to special summon the Diana from our hand, and we're going to activate her effect to place Parallelism in the spell trap zone. We'll activate Parallelism, getting rid of the Diana, to special summon Lucina to the rightmost main monster zone, and then we'll activate her effect to search for Fortuna. We'll special Fortuna to the middle, we'll activate her effect to get Rhapsodia, and then we have Excel Synchron, Fortuna, and Lucina. From here, we're going to activate the effect of Excel Synchron, sending Jet Synchron from our deck to the graveyard, and reducing its level by 1. We can activate the graveyard effect of Jet Synchron by discarding a card from our hand to special summon it from the graveyard and banish it when it leaves the field, and then we have materials using our level 6 in the middle monster zone and our level 1 tuner to make Stolitzia. This is going to put our interaction package off of Rhapsodia online, and because we end on Stolitzia plus a 6, we can use its effect to bring back another 6 and reduce all of their levels, and when we use its effect again on our opponent's turn to bring back the Patron, we have materials for Junora. But there are all kinds of things you can do off the Medius line, including increasing the level of your Excel Synchron to make like Ultimaya Zulkin or Crimson Dragon, and I guarantee you there's a way to use Zarin the Chainbound Dragon in this deck. I think this card is going to be particularly good in Cool Tune, but I wouldn't be surprised if a deck that was already making Synchro 7s made another one. And there's also the implication of lowering the levels of your Elvennote monsters to 3, and then using the level 1 tuners that we have access to, whether that's the Power Patron or the Jet Synchron, to make Herald of the Arclight as another M-board piece, or even to bridge into Mitsurugi. I think the deck is going to be cool and will succeed as a mid-range strategy, playing unique Synchro monsters that other decks aren't really tapping into. And I worry that it's going to lose to Nibiru because I don't know if it has a way to insulate against that right now. And things like Kashtira Shangri-Ira just zone locking them out of the game, even though that deck isn't particularly relevant. Another cool thing is people could start playing like Secret Village of the Spellcasters in this deck because the main deck 6s are Spellcaster monsters, and there is no field spell for the strategy just yet. And the last thing I'll mention is the possible tech of Theo Realize to Foolish Burial the Medius as an additional starter, because the combo that we established off of normal summon Medius to end on the Junora point of interaction doesn't actually require the graveyard effect of Medius to reborn itself, so you can get to that line without using your normal off of Theorealize. But that's my archetype breakdown for Elvennote coming out in Burst Protocol in February. Let me know what you think in the comments. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.